everyone. On behalf of Sarojini Hegde and the entire Hegde family, welcome you all to the 7th edition of Professor KTM Hegde Memorial Lecture. In addition to Professor Hegde, this year's lecture is also dedicated to Sujan Hegde, who is with us in spirit today. For those of you who may not have known Professor Hegde, Professor KTM Hegde was a professional who dedicated more than 40 plus years of his academic life to the study of archaeology and ancient history of the Indian subcontinent. An MA from the University of Cambridge and a doctorate from MS University Baroda, Professor Hegde also had multiple fellowships for teaching and research at respected academic institutions which included St. John's College, University of Cambridge, Wolfson College, Oxford University at the UK, and Harvard University, United States of America. Professor Hegde published more than 70 papers in well-known Indian and international academic research journals. He is the author and co-author of a number of books related to ancient metals, prominent among them being An Introduction to Ancient Indian Metallurgy and Early Indian Metallurgy. Under his leadership as Head of Archaeology and Ancient History, and subsequently as Dean of Faculty of Arts at MS University Baroda, the Archaeology Department enjoyed global academic interest and support. In recognition of his work, the Ford Foundation offered a grant which helped promote scientific temper and development of the Department of Archaeology in a significant manner. Professor Hegde's dedication to academic excellence and his deep appreciation of the arts prompts us to invite distinguished personalities in this celebration of the human spirit. Today, we have amongst us eminent guests who have graciously accepted this invite on behalf of the Hegde family for this memorial. First, Padma Shri Mrinal Pandey, who is with us today evening, renowned journalist, author and speaker, and the group of artists collectively performing as the Charya. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our guests, Padma Shri Mrinal Pandey. Thank you. Before I invite and talk about and introduce Mrinal Pandeyji, a humble request to make sure that your mobile phones are on the silent mode. Thank you so much. So we are pleased to invite our first guest for today evening, Padma Shri Mrinal Pandey, well-known journalist, author, teacher, and media personality. I'm sure most of you would already be familiar with her and her work. Her interests encompass literature, arts, architecture, and music, and her works include fiction, plays, and essays on India and its women. Her experience in journalism spans public as well as private media and includes landmark role as founder-editor of Vama, the thinking women's magazine of the mid-80s, as senior editorial advisor of Hindi news at Doordarshan and subsequently NDTV, chairperson of Prasar Bharati, the first woman to hold this position, the first woman editor of Hindi publications group of the Hindustan Times, and many others. Mrinal has had a ringside view of the journey of Indian and Hindi journalism over decades, and she has played a part in fighting for a truthful representation of the voice of the people by and in the media. A fierce champion of democracy, she is a strong advocate and defender of every individual's right to enjoy the freedom to dress, learn, work, move about, speak a language, love, marry, and live as the individual may desire. She does so actively through her writings, talks, and through social media. Today, she'll be speaking on Wandering in a Forest of Religions. Welcome, Mrinalji.
Namaskar, everyone. It's a pleasure to be in this beautiful city. I've had the honor of coming here 3 or 4 times in the past. Once when I was researching Hindustani Parsi theatre, which was owned by Parsi Gujaratis, Gujarati-speaking Parsi sets. And the next time I came here in connection with compilation for a report on women in the unorganized sector, accompanied by Lavin Bhatt. And I'm here once again. My deepest thanks to the Hegde family for inviting me, giving me the honor to come and talk to you, meet you all, and talk to you about a subject which many people warn me against speaking on. But I think we need to talk. I think we need to talk because, a crucial word in our scriptures starts with the pratyay or the prefix sam. Everything that is important and democratic, samvad, samvilap, sansthan, sastha, everything comes with sam and it means togetherness. So the first thing that comes to mind when you think of a space for intellectual activity, innovation, and coming together of people as a democratic republic, you think of the pratyay sam. So that is a key word that I would be using again and again. And in fact, to protect this word, it was loaded with sanctity. And therefore, crossing of rivers, wherever two rivers cross, is called a sangam. And sangam is also the meeting of cultures, hence the Tamil Sangam poetry. So wherever there is a meeting of cultures, meeting of rivers, it is given an aura of holiness in India because coming together, sitting together, talking together is very essential to us as peoples of India. In one of the Brahman Granth, I think it is Shakpat Brahman, there is a very interesting संवाद. थोड़ा मैं बीच में हिंदी में भी बताऊंगी. So उसमें ये है कि मानव ने एक बार मंत्र दृष्टा ऋषियों से पूछा. मंत्र दृष्टा वर the seers of the mantras which are compiled in the Vedas. उन्होंने मंत्र दृष्टा ऋषियों से पूछा कि जब आप चले जाएंगे तो देवताओं से हमारा सीधा संवाद कैसे होगा. तो उन्होंने कहा कि जब एक जैसी मति और एक जैसे स्तर के लोग आमने सामने बैठकर परस्पर संवाद करेंगे, ऊहापोह करेंगे. ऊहापोह, ऊह मीन्स क्वेश्चनिंग एंड अपोह मीन्स आंसरिंग. सो जब ये ऊहापोह होगा, उससे जो सबको स्वीकार्य बात निकलेगी वही प्रमाण होगा. That will be the gold standard for whatever question was initially asked. And I found this fascinating that way back we quote the Vedas to say कि नहीं हम सनातन धर्मी हैं, वेद हमारे अखंड हैं, उनको किसी भी तरह से डिस्टर्ब. वेद खुद अपने अंदर इतनी सारी ऊहापोह लिए हुए हैं. Everything is Mantradrishtas were the seers who saw a certain truth in a flash and represented it in poetry. But the subsequent people who decided, who created the Aranyaks and the Brahman Granths, they were people who then mulled over this. And within the poetry they found the little cursors, beeping, which they enlarged. इसीलिए उसकी जो टीका होती है उसको वर्तिका कहते हैं. वर्तिका माने बत्ती. आप टॉर्च डाल के देख रहे हैं, एक मात्र को उस पर मनन कर रहे हैं. कोई भी स्मृति ग्रंथ है, कुछ भी है, स्मृति ग्रंथ में मनुस्मृति है. There's a very interesting guy called कुलुक भट्ट 7th century के. तो मनुस्मृति तो बहुत पहले लिखी गई, कुलुक भट्ट ने उसकी टीका लिखी है. तो उन्होंने कहा कि नास्तिक का अर्थ ये नहीं होता है कि जो विश्वास नहीं करता ईश्वर में, वो उस बात पर विश्वास नहीं करता जो उसको जबरदस्ती प्रमाण के बिना दी जा रही है. न अस्ति, इसलिए वो कहता है कि नहीं है. तो जो आदमी किसी भी चीज़ पर सवाल उठा के, a person who denies the basic incontrovertibility of something that is posited to him as an unshakable truth is a Nastic. And therefore we have had very great Nastics. We have had Charvak as a Nastic. We have had all the various Vedbahya people. I mean, Guru Gorakhnath was a great Nastic. He said Rudivat Karmakand. And we still love them, we admire them, we read their poetry, we recite it publicly. So what I want to stress is the multiplicity of faiths and the ease with which we as a peoples have allowed, our ancestors have always allowed रूम इन द मार्जिन्स, कि हर चीज़ में संसद होगी, सभा होगी, संघ छद्म संबद्धम, चलो साथ में बैठ के बात करते हैं, साथ में मिलके चलते हैं। हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में एम्बेडेड है, हमारे संसद में लिखा हुआ है। सो दिस इज व्हाट आई स्टार्ट विद। What we seek, William Hazlitt says, we must find at home or nowhere. That is why I started with all this. Now, why do I talk about a lovely deep dark forest of mixed flora and fauna? The image of a vast tree beyond time, penetrating the three lokas, recurs in our Vedic literature and religious texts with striking regularity. Shweta Upanishad says, मूल प्रजापति वृक्ष इव स्तब्धो तिष्ठति दिवितिष्ठति एक बहुत बड़ा वृक्ष है जो पृथ्वी के केंद्र में है, जिसकी जड़ें पाताल में है, तना यहाँ है और उसकी बाहें आकाश में है। So this is the central symbol of India, a huge tree. And this tree is later identified by Vartikakars as Ashwath, a tree whose branches then send shoots down to the earth so that many more trees may grow. So multiplicity and plenitude are the soul of India. Oneness is not required. One universal, one size fits all. This kind of thinking is not Indian. इंडिया बिलीव्स इन मल्टीप्लिसिटी। हमें एक कहावत भी है, 7 कनौजिया 56 चूल्हे। If 7 people from Kannauj are dining, they will create 56 cooking areas for themselves. हर चीज़ में हमारे यहाँ डिसेंट होती है, हर चीज़ में हमारे यहाँ अपी ननु, जिन्होंने संस्कृत पढ़ी हो जानते हैं कि अपिच ये तो है बट अपिच, महाभारत में हजारों बार भीष्म पितामह कहते हैं कि अपिच शास्त्र पुराण इतिहासे इत्यमिति, मतलब शास्त्र पुराणों में ये भी लिखा हुआ है। So E.M. Foster says every Indian hold has more than 2 escape hatches. So if you block one, they can always escape through the other. And all of you who have grown up in ट्रेडिशनल इंडियन फैमिलीज नो कि हर चीज़ में पंडित लोग कोई राह आखिर में निकाल देते हैं कि भाई लड़का हमारा वहाँ से विदेश से आ रहा है, इतनी बजे उसकी फ्लाइट आएगी, इतनी देर में वो जेट लैग्ड होगा, जल्दी से पढ़ा दो, अच्छा ठीक है फिर मैं उस हिसाब से कर दूँगा, मुहूर्त शाम का नहीं सुबह का निकाल। बट दिस इज़ अ वेरी लवेबल क्वालिटी बिकॉज इट अलाउज यू टू one march with the times, it gives you room to evolve with the times, but it also allows the beauty of life to continue and gives you a sense of identity and being. Don't rob me of that. This is what I have inherited, you have inherited, and I think we all must protect it with our lives. Now there's some interesting symbols, and I'm going back to Indian scriptures क्योंकि उन्हीं को सबसे ज़्यादा आजकल अज्ञानी लोगों के द्वारा कोट किया जा रहा है। Look at our symbols. हमारे सबसे बड़े ग्रामेरियन हैं पाणिनि अष्टाध्यायी के। तक्षशिला में वो पढ़ा और हजारी प्रसाद द्विवेदी ने एक बार कहा कि भाग्य देखो, जिस तक्षशिला से कभी पाणिनि प्रकट हुए थे वहाँ से आज हींग वाले आते हैं फेरी लगाने को। तो शिक्षा के अमूल्यन की बात करती है। So पाणिनि is described, his father was a Pana, is described as Pana, which means a small-time trader. Traders, you know, have an unusual grasp of multiplicity of the market, of value of things, and they are also very good at languages because they have to trade with a lot of people. And his mother, he's called Dakshi Putra. Dakshi is not an Aryan name, so obviously he belonged to the other communities which probably may have been pre-Aryan. So he was of a mixed parentage. Similarly, Vedvyas, he was the illegitimate son of a king who lived in self-exile on a little island and created one of the most magnificent epics about war and peace. The original name of Mahabharata was Vijay. And it is an ironical title because at the end nobody wins. The winner loses it all, and Yudhishthira and his brothers finally recede into the Himalayas. Then we come to Valmiki. We all know his past, that he was a dacoit, then he became a poet. And nobody knows how many people he had killed and so on. But he created magnificent poetry and gave women's issues a centrality. The pain of Sita took her in, brought up her children, helped her bring up her twins. And he gave her pain a centrality in the epic, which is quite unforgettable. So these are the symbol of the basic Indian thinking. What are you talking to me about when you talk Indian culture में ऐसा नहीं होता? अरे Indian culture में हर चीज़ होती है, हर चीज़ जायज़ होती है। आज ही सुबह हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि हमारे यहाँ हाँ या ना इसी तरह से सिर हिलता है। There is हंसी में जगह है और बहुत अच्छी जगह है. It gives us all breathing space. We have all kinds. I come from a very old line of scholars of various kinds, and they were all extremely eccentric. एक हमारे अंकल थे, उनके लिए लकड़ी धो करके उसको धूप में सुखा के फिर खाना पकता था, क्योंकि वो जो लकड़ी आई है बाजार से आई है. एक आंट थी, वो सिर्फ दूध, आलू और खोए की मिठाई खाती थी. तो वो जब भी आती थी तो फिर उसका प्रबंध कर. एंड वी लिव्ड इन द हिल्स वेयर प्रोक्योरिंग थिंग्स वाज सो डिफिकल्ट. So we've all gone through these eccentrics and we've all loved them. I mean, everybody accepted them. कह रहे वो आ रहे हैं, अच्छा ये खोए वाले ताऊजी आ रहे हैं, अच्छा ये. Even our Maharaj used to ask everybody, आज मंगल है, आज बता दो आज किस किस का उपवास है, आज शुक्रवार है, आज बता दो कौन कौन संतोषी माता वाले हैं. So there is room, there has always been room. And what are we talking about? कि हम इनको नहीं जगह देंगे, हम इनको वेद बाह्य मानते हैं, हम इनको अस्पृश्य मानते हैं. कोई अस्पृश्य कभी रहा ही नहीं उस दृष्टि से. There was room and there was love for everyone, there was an understanding, and all this was done not only because we are very affectionate people, we are not, but because when people come together, there is a certain strength and energy that is released. And there is a commingling of ideas, there is an exchange of ideas, there is an exchange of languages, there is an exchange of art and culture, which strengthens whatever we have by way of our legacy. So the word for Prajapati is, of course, Prajapati means Brahma also, but कुम्हार को भी हमारे यहाँ प्रजापति कहते हैं, क्योंकि वो नया घड़ा बना सकता है. मिट्टी से नया घड़ा बना, जैसे ब्रह्मा नया मनुष्य बनाते हैं, मिट्टी से नया घड़ा बना सकता है. तो यहाँ पर पाणिनि टपक पड़ते हैं, तो पाणिनि कहते हैं, लेकिन शब्द जो है वो जनता बनाती है, मनुष्य नहीं बनाता है. जैसे आप कुम्हार से कह सकते हो मेरे लिए नया घड़ा बना दो, आप किसी एक कवि से नहीं कह सकते हो कि मेरे लिए नया शब्द बना दो. शब्द रचनाकार नहीं बनाता, शब्द जनता बनाती है. इसलिए जो लिखा गया है उसकी अंतिम कसौटी लोक है, लोक प्रमाण है. मैंने जो भी आप कह रहे हो, अगर ये ग्रामर भी टेस्ट करना है या किसी लैंग्वेज को टेस्ट करना है, फर्स्ट सी हाउ द पीपल आर यूजिंग इट. दैट इज द अल्टीमेट टचस्टोन फॉर legitimacy and purity. So we indulge in a bit of, we are sitting in the shadow of a great archaeologist. So let's indulge in a bit of linguistic archaeology here. Those of us who have grown up among multilingual communities, and all of us are multilingual, know that we notice the resemblance between languages and fluid streams of thought by the time we are in college. And through that, we try and put together all the bittersweet backstories of India's plurality over thousands of years. And here we must again bow to the grammarian Panini, the creator of Ashtadhyayi, who made the people the ultimate decider of language, discipline, and grammar. And he says in his treatise, iti varna vidah pargur nibunam tat nyabodhat. Thus speaks the grammarian. Please listen to him carefully and try to understand. He must have been a delightfully eccentric and hard teacher, but I'm quite sure I would have loved to have had him as a teacher myself. So this kind of boldness helps the students hold language and conversations as a mirror to reflect change and mingling of ideas. And there was no time when we argumentative Indians didn't speak and doubt together when holding religious and intra-religious dialogues. And through these dialogues, I'll now go on to show how religions bled into each other, infused each other, and each religion changed and acquired some eccentricities or some outgrowths, which are very beautiful part of that particular religion. So, Rajshekhar in the 12th century termed this as Swikaran. It's not Anukaran, it is not Anuvag, it is Swikaran. Swikaran means to accept and then to make your own, to gestate it and then bring it out in your own version. So a lot of what we are saying or what we are talking about or what we are seeing in all forms of arts and also writing and creativity is actually a Swikaran of thousands of years of commingling of tribes of various kinds. कुछ ने एक धर्म ले लिया, कुछ ने एक धर्म ले लिया, कुछ ने एक धर्म ले लिया, फिर कुछ दिन के बाद then subsects बन जाते हैं. सबके कोई भी ऐसा धर्म नहीं है हिंदुस्तान में जिसके subsects नहीं हैं. Not one religion in India does not have subsects. Subsects के भी subsects हो जाते हैं कई बार. तो इसलिए this beautiful multiplicity is what gives a society tolerance. The second point is, why do we enter a forest? We enter a forest either to get something from the forest, some forest produce, or we enter the forest to lose ourselves and dissociate ourselves from the world. So there were various kinds of forests. There was one from where the Vanvasis took whatever they needed. There was Pramadvan, राजाओं की विलास के लिए जो बने होते थे, and they went out hunting and occasionally also married and produced kids with Rishi's children, Shakuntala being an example. We all know these stories. They are all around us. And then there was one for exiles. We hear in folk stories how कि उसको रानी को दंड दिया और उसको जंगल में भेज दिया, उसको कौवा हकनी बना करके भी दूर भेज दिया गया. And then in classics we have many kings who were and cousins who were sent into exile, Pandavas being the prime example, Ram being another example. All our heroes have become heroes after coming out of the forest. So their forest journey, उनकी जो वन यात्रा है, that is what forges them into the steel that they become. Whether it is Ram, who then commingles with simians, with Shabri, with the Bheels, and with bears and various other kinds of animals, forms an army of those people, and together they bring down one of the most powerful in the land. Or it is Pandavas who are sent 5 brothers with their widowed mother into exile, who tells a Brahmin, don't bless my daughter-in-law to have Pandit or Shurveer as sons. Just tell her to have children who are lucky. शूरवीर और पंडित मेरे भी बेटे हैं और मैं तब से वन में सड़ रही. It is in Mahabharata. भाग्यवंतः प्रसूयेथा न शूरा न च पंडिता शूरा पंडिताश्च में वने सीदंति में सुता. तो इसलिए हमारे ग्रंथों में पूरा उल्लेख है इसका, लेकिन for some years I think people have stopped going to the roots and they only accept whatever is told them by people who have become self-appointed commentators on the world. That is why I'm taking you into this journey, into this mixed forest of many layers. So, it is this history which has created need for tirthas, a meeting place for crossing over. तीर्थ का मतलब है त्र, स्तर से निकला है वो, माने जहाँ you cross over from one side of the river to the other, meaning from this world into another world. And wherever there is a sangam, it becomes the pavitratam tirth. So it is a meeting place. It is a meeting place of the live and the dead. It is a meeting place of rivers. It is a meeting place of pilgrims. And those who have gone on pilgrimage with the elderly in the family or just on one's own, knows how interesting it is to just wander along a holy river or to go to a place and just be yourself. Nobody knows you, nobody cares who you are, and you are all in the same boat, and you just sit there and talk about अपना दुख सुख सब एक दूसरे से बांटते हैं. So तीर्थ की जो मूल कल्पना है वो भी यही है, coming together. And if we say कि नहीं 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 सबको अलग अलग करो, इसका कैंप ये है, इसका कैंप ये है, ये ऑपोजिशन में, ये फलाना है, ये है, इस कास्ट का, सब is all, you know, being foisted on us, and it goes against our grain. That is why there is so much resentment, and that is why there is so much unrest. We have to flow with our natural grain, and our natural grain is coming together as very talkative, very argumentative people, as families, as communities, but getting together and staying together to exchange views, ऊहापोह करने के लिए. And Tirth is the place where Indians are mobilized from all over. And when you begin reading, you will find that Indians are one of the most mobile people nationally. I come from Uttarakhand. No member of my family had not been to Rameshwaram. And likewise, you know, चारों धाम करके सब जितने घर के बूढ़े थे, at some point there were some uncles who would just disappear, and it was said कि वो सन्यासी हो गया, वो छोड़ के चला गया. So a family had all kinds of people. It had Vedic people, it had Vedbahya people, it had Sanatani people, it also had great rebels who didn't believe, it also had Marxists, card-holding Marxists. So if they can, families could stay together, why can't we as a nation accept the same philosophy? So this is a porous world. The world of the Tirthas is a porous world where you meet, where religions and human beings meet with all their individual majesty intact. And in time they begin to mingle, merge, and eventually support each other. The third point I want to bring up is the unbroken chain of hybridization everywhere in India. Because it is hybridization, not exclusivity, which has brought us so far. How does hybridization happen? It happens not just in religion, because religions rolls through societies, rolls through empires, and rolls through marketplaces. तो जब हम रिलीजन की बात करते हैं कि वहाँ से ये धर्म आया, वहाँ से लेकर के आया, पर धर्म ऐसे ही थोड़ी आ जाता है. It is not like a seed of pollen which comes flying. It has to merge with the market, mesh with the armies, it has to mesh with the marketplace, it has to mesh with the societies and families, and thus it also mutates as it enters. So after a certain softening of its edges, after a certain acceptance and rejection, you know, then it sits with the what is locally available, and then interesting hybridizations begin to take place. So I'll give you two examples. One is near Roorkee there is a dargah of a saint called Kalyani Peer. He was somebody, it is rumored, हमारे सब चीज़ rumor पर आधारित होती है. तो कल्याणी पीर जो थे वो 16th century में कहीं से बाहर से किसी आर्मी से आए थे. He was a mercenary. Most of these people were mercenaries. He came and then he broke away, and he did something, and his peer, he consulted his peer in Afghanistan and said, my body is burning. So he said कि आप हिमालय की जानिब निकल जाओ. So he went and camped some 20 kilometers outside Roorkee. तो वहाँ कल्याण पीर की बहुत बड़ी दरगाह है, and it's a great meeting place for कव्वाल्स for some reason. शक्कर मक्खन करके पुराने कव्वाल थे, मदन भाई जानते होंगे. वो कल्याण पीर की बहुत बड़ी दरगाह है. हमारे उत्तराखंड में एक होता है जागर लगाना, जिसमें देवता अवतरित होते हैं. तो जो देवताओं के नाम गाए जाते हैं, उसमें जो जगरिया लोग गाते हैं, उसमें दो मुस्लिम पीर भी हैं, सैदा पीर, ममंदा पीर. एक कोई सैयद कालू, जो शायद कल्याण वाले कालू होंगे, और एक मेमंदा माने महमूद पीर. और उनको कहा जाता है, तू तुरुकनी को जाए हो, तू छमाछम करते आए हो, तू धमाधम करते आए हो, तू तलवार लिए आए हो, तू रक्षा कर. सो हर पीर और हर साधु से हम अपनी तरह का काम निकलवाते हैं कि तो आए हो यहाँ, तुम इधर आ जाओ, तुम तुर्कनी के जाए हो और यू आर आर्म्ड विद अ शार्प सोर्ड, तो तू हमारी कर। तो फिर वो जगरिया जो हम बचपन में देखते थे, फिर वो थोड़ी देर तलवार के छोलिया नाच करता है। इसी तरह से when I went to the Caribbeans, I found temple to Mariamman. Mariamman is a South Indian local deity which is a combine of a local mother goddess and Mary. It is a kind of a hybrid. And when people may have migrated, so there was a Mariamman temple, and next to that there was another temple. It was the temple to Sitla Mata. Sitla Mata, I mean, because smallpox is common even in Caribbeans, और उसके बाहर एक नीम का पेड़ लगा हुआ था, एंड गधे पर सवार शीतला माता की मूर्ति थी। जो भी माइग्रेंट्स होंगे वो गए होंगे। So hybridization is happening around us all the time and has been happening for thousands of years. And therefore, the concept of itihas literally means that thus it happened. It has come to us through oral history. And myth means kimvadanti. Kimvadanti, kya kehte ho? Half believing and half disbelieving. So, Prithvi Sukt in the Vedas sums it up. Let the Mother Earth with her multiplicity of people, all following different religions, stream her bountiful treasures upon us, all of us, to enrich us. Jana vibhrati bahudha vivachasam nana dharmanam prithvi yathoprasam. Acceptance, there is a frank acceptance that Mother Earth holds people from various religions who have come wandering into her lap, and they pray to Goddess, please bless all of us equally. So in the age of artificial intelligence and digitization, we must face modern science and tech as our ancestors did. All the various gods and goddesses that flew in from the pole and evolved out, or evolved out of the wisdom of the Aranyaks, people who came out of the forests. Not only classical Aranyas and Tapovanas, there are in Kerala Sarpakavu, in Karnataka we have Devkadu. They are modern day remnants of ancient India. Little small, not forests, but little groves left out untouched in the name of various gods. And then the names of the forests are virtual poetry. This is Pramadavan, Tapovan, Aranyam, Dandakaranyam. And these are the ones, Dvayatvan, Khandavvan, Kamyakvan, such beautiful names, and each one has a different aura and different story or group of stories hanging from it. And this is where our ancient heroes are forged into what they became. So, then the point is that neither the scientists nor religious men and women live by science and religion alone. They exist within mutating human societies, empires, and marketplaces. India's plural communities and religions have constantly written, spoken, and doubted together, where all kinds of irreligious, intra-religious, and inter-religious dialogues were created, and they have all gone on to enrich our plurality. Historically, this has happened in 4 phases after the coming of the Aryans. But we have no records available of the pre-Vedic period because the script has not yet been deciphered. But we do know that the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro civilizations did exist. But from that, what they extracted, we see the seals, Bhut, Pret, Vriksh Puja, Bull, the holy bull, Shiva as a yogi, Yog Mudra, concept of Matra Devi, and worship of Lingam. These are all identified, iconic visuals which have come out of these. So obviously they pre-existed the coming in, but they were accepted into what is now termed as the broader stream of Hindu religion. So this is the So Sanatan Hindutva, which we are hearing so much about, may at best be one of the small tributaries of a vast and perpetually self-renewing waters of a mighty cultural flow of Hindu religion in India, which evolved out of the fusion of a pre-Vedic society with the Vedas and then continued to evolve. So, as I said, the non-believers were given a space here, and there are acceptable non-believers and they are listed. They were very good at listing. So there were 4 branches of Buddhism: the Charvaks, Kapil Sankhya, Jaiminis, Mimamsa philosophies. Last but not the least, the Digambar sect of Jains were all accepted as part of the Hindu religion. They may not accept us, the Hindu religion, but that's another story. And so the core religion also had seeds of bifurcation. Like one dhara was Nivrittiparak, Sraman Mula, people who did not think the world mattered and wanted to go into the aranya and do their tapas, become tapasvi. They lived a celibate life, cut off from human society. The bigger lot was the Karmaparak, people who cultivated, married, had children, fought each other, fought for land, this, that, the other. And the kings, of course, came out of that lot. So the Karmaparak and Nivrittiparak dharas continued even when state religions changed. When Buddhism became the state religion, there were Shramans, but there were also householders who gave alms to the Shramans. So they were also acceptable as being kind or polite to the Buddhists. And if the king gave it became a royal religion, then of course the royal religion became very important for negotiating. So we have reference in Buddhist scriptures towards the end how some of the bhikkhus and also bhikkhunis were chastised for having become money lenders. पैसा बहुत मिलता था संगाराम को, तो वहाँ पर वो लोग लोन का लेन देन चलाने लगे. These are stories which are very interesting. So all the classical categories of the Astics and Nastics, were also interchangeable. And the Bhagavad Gita, for example, Krishna himself says that he accepts puja given avidhi purvakam. बिना किसी रिचुअल के मुझे जो पूजा दी जाती है वो भी मैं स्वीकार कर लेता हूँ. So this is also saying, what E.M. Foster was puzzled by, कि विधि पूर्वक करो तो ठीक है, बिना विधि के करो तो भी ठीक है, चलेगा. It reminds me of our family priest. So he said कि हम सब तरह का हो जाता है, उसमें थोड़ा सा घी लगा दो शुद्ध हो जाएगा, गाजर छिड़क दो. So we have a panacea available for everything because the basic instinct is to survive with your wits and your dignity intact and also comfortably if possible. So to protect your wealth, to protect your family, to protect your wits and to protect your sense of self. All these various exit gates have to be lit all the time. Then of course came the first big disruptor to the Vedic dhara, which was already bifurcating, was Buddhism in 4th century BC, and it shares the DNAs with the Sramanas, the bhikkhus, and it was also Dukhvadi, Nivrittivadi, Nirishwarvadi, which already the path had been opened by the Nastics. And then you see the evolution of Ashok, who started by being a regular, cruel Rajdandwala Raja, got Kalinga razed to the ground, got free labor from Kalinga to flatten the forests in Ashoka and create great farming land for his people. Then finally he converted to Buddhism. So the Brahmins whom he had been patronized were unhappy, क्योंकि उनको राज्य से जो मिलता था धन वो मिलना शायद कम हो गया, patronage कम हो गई, and Buddhists became the new kid on the block. So जब ये अशोक के वो बनाए गए edicts बनाए गए तो उनसे कहा गया, ब्राह्मण्स के पास गए कि भाई इनके लिए किंग के लिए नए अच्छे सुंदर टाइटल्स सुझा दो। 2 titles which are repeated in most edicts are Devanam Priya Priyadarshi, and in Pali it translates as Devanam Priya Priyadasi, Ashok Hetyah, फिर उसके बाद उनका जो भी edict है। The joke was, ब्राह्मणों ने quietly उसमें देवानाम प्रिय also means a donkey. So मतलब देश के कोने कोने में अशोक की लाटें खड़ी हो गई, जिसमें अशोक के नाम के आगे देवानाम प्रियदर्शी. So on the face of it, with a straight face, they would say कि भाई देवता प्रेम करते हैं तभी तो इतने बड़े राजा बने हैं. तो this reminds me of similar cryptic incidents which happened much later in the 17th century. There was a Sufi Sarmad. Sarmad was not actually a Muslim. He was a Jew from Alexandria. He just wandered, he was one of those habitual wanderers, he wandered into India. At that point, Aurangzeb was ruling. And there's a story about him that वो नंगा रहता था और बहुत ठंडी तो कंबल ओढ़ लेता था. So one day in the winters, he was sitting on the steps of Jama Masjid with his blanket by his side and he was totally naked. So the Badshah came for his Friday prayers and he saw him, got very angry and he said, cover your shame. So he looked up and said, why? He said, I am the king of this land, cover your shame. So he said, shall I hide my shame or shall I hide yours? And he opened the blanket and all the heads of the brothers of Aurangzeb whom he had murdered were hidden under that blanket. So these are stories, but they do bear a very deep truth that, that every big society, every big empire has many bloody skeletons in its cupboard. And unless you leave margin for all these things, you will never really be able to understand the nature of worldly power and the nature of spiritual power. And this is something which I'm sure the music will highlight even more. So, then the ripples of this tsunami also reached other shores. So then interesting things began to happen between India and Sri Lanka when Buddhism reached there. Interesting things happened between India and Tibet when Buddhism reached there. And Mani Padma, who took Buddhism to Tibet, Om Mani Padme Hum, he's the Buddhist monk who's revered. So in Tibet, the local goddess Tara became the goddess Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, and then she was subsumed back into the Indian Tantric Shakti cult as the goddess of wisdom and power. So then the classical period, which is more known, brought many changes, and of course the beautiful Gandharan art you all know about. And at the same time, corruption set into Buddhism. So in 8th century AD came Shankaracharya, who coined the word Sanatan Dharma. But his Sanatan Dharma was very different from what it is being explained to us. कि शंकराचार्य ने कहा, मठाधीश ये कह रहे, मठाधीश घंटा जानते हैं, घंटा जानते हैं. So because he had not established any particular. He had established that priests from the south will go and worship in the north, carry out the worship, and priests from the north will come to the south. But he had never closed other exit doors. Advaitwad he kept open for the Sraman Parampara. He himself was a celibate and he died very young, but he had left the world at a very young age, and he was wandering just to sort of create a religion which would be acceptable to people, but which would not be as corrupt as Buddhism had become by then. So he set some targets to himself that he would try and rout Buddhism and replace it with acceptable dharma. Then he accepted the multiplicity कि हम तो शिव को भी वर्शिप करेंगे, हम तो विष्णु और लक्ष्मी को भी करेंगे, हम तो गणेश को भी करेंगे. गणेश is a yaksh. विष्णु and लक्ष्मी are a later coinage. शिव is the आदि देव. किसको छोड़ो? तो उन्होंने कहा चलो पंचायतन पूजा करो, 5 देवता ले लो और उनकी पूजा करो. पंचरात्र का विधान हो गया और उनकी स्मार्त संहिता अलग से लिख दी गई. तो ये हैं, but there is no rigidity in Shankar. He was a great scholar and a great seer, and the only thing, he was also very sharp in detecting that certain arms of Shaivism had also accepted Buddhist principles. So he made them a no-no for followers of Sanatana, because he quoted Padma Puran, in which Shiv tells Parvati that Pashupatas and Maheshwaras among the so-called followers of Shiva were not actually following Shiva but preaching Buddhism under the garb of Shaivism. तो वो foreign agents थे, तो उनको थोड़ा सा no कर दिया गया. Adi Shankaracharya himself lived as a celibate monk and never called himself Jagat Guru. This title was given to him by others. Just as Mahatma Gandhi never called himself Mahatma, he never called himself Jagat Guru. So Jagat Guru is a title which is going for free. जिसको चाहिए Kotler Award की तरह ले. So none of these other sects were considered Ved Bahya. जो पहले से चले आए थे वो भी चलते गए. So then once this was defined, then it became easier for people to travel and negotiate and haggle and learn from others. So there was a proliferation of tirthas. So we had 7 holy cities, 12 Jyotirlingas, 1000 Shakti Peeths, 64 yoginis. You have your pick. आप किसी को भी चुन लीजिए और करिए, and multiple dhunis to boot. फिर नाथपंथी सिद्ध संप्रदाय के लोग आ गए, सेवड़ा खेवड़ा वान परस्ती सिद्ध साधक अवधूत, ये मतलब 6-7 सेक्ट ये निकल आए. तो आप किसी को भी कर लीजिए. तो हमारे यहाँ जोशी मठ में, the town that is sinking in the hills, it has an original dhuni which was lit by Guru Gorakhnath, they say. It has connectivity with Kashi. A lot of the Nath Diksha is given in Kashi, and then वहाँ भी धुनी जलती है. So अगर शंकराचार्य ने मठ बनाया तो गुरु गोरखनाथ ने भी अपनी धुनी बना दी. गुरु नानक ने जाके हेमकुंड साहब में अपना चिमटा गाड़ दिया. So you know, आप किसी को छोड़ ही नहीं सकते हैं इस देश में. हर कोई अपना फिर वो बना लेता है, हेडक्वार्टर्स बना लेता है, और जो हेडक्वार्टर से काम होने लगता है. So there are LPT transmitters all over transmitting all the time. आप किस को गिराएंगे? And then this led to a beautiful blooming of literature, poetry and fine arts. Of course, plastic arts और architecture तो आप जानते ही हैं. Then we have people like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shankar Dev, Vallabhacharya, Surdas, Tuka, Eknath, and they brought out the new Kirtan tradition, which suits the Indian temperament very well. कि आप सब साथ में बैठ करके गाएं, जोर जोर से बेसुर या सुर वाले सब एक साथ गाएं, खूब हल्ला गुल्ला हो, तो वही हम लोगों को करता है. So and then yakshas who were the aboriginals were also accepted at the same time. So Banaras mein, which is Shiva's place, has countless yaksh temples. Yakshas guard everywhere. They guard the RBI building also. Notwithstanding what has been happening, आजकल यक्षों का power कुछ घट गया है. Then at the same time, so we have you have Pancharatra Dharma, you have Sanatan Dharma, you have Shaiv Dharma, you have Shakt Dharma. Then you have Veer Puja, Nag Puja, Yaksh Puja, Piran ke Peer, Kalu or Memanda. Then you have the Yoginis, 64 Yoginis. And then from south comes Kotmai. South Bhan Bhatt ने 7th century में लिखा था कोटप्पाई, एक वहाँ की बहुत पावरफुल देवी थी. तो वो पावरफुल थी तो यहाँ भी इम्पोर्ट हो गई हूँ, तो उनको कोटमाई करके पूजा जाता है. हमारे यहाँ पहाड़ में भी उनके 3-4 मंदिर हैं. तो बहुत प्रोलिफरेशन हो रहा था. Then the Mughals, who are being revived so heftily, were also deeply moved and shaken by this proliferation of god families. So Akbar and Salim Jahangir, they both had 2 translations done of Miratul Quddus, which is the Mirror of Holiness, and they were अब बादशाहों को इतना धर्म कर्म करने का कहा था, बट उनमें राइवलरी बाप और बेटे में थी कि किसका मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट कितना सुंदर होगा. So Akbar got his illustrated and Jahangir got his illustrated separately, and there was great spardha among artists to see कि बादशाह का या जहाँ आने वाले बादशाह का किसका मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट ज़्यादा अच्छा होता है. बहरहाल हमारे यहाँ इसकी कोई कॉपी नहीं है. Akbar's manuscript is in Lahore and Jahangir's manuscript is in Cleveland Museum in Ohio. So there we are. Then came Christianity. जैसे हमारे यहाँ वैसे ही कमी थी देवताओं की, तो क्रिश्चियनिटी भी आ गई। तो पहली वेव 4th सेंचुरी के आसपास आई सीरियन ऑर्थोडॉक्सी। 12th सेंचुरी में चेयर किंग टॉमस तिलावर्तन हो गए। फिर 1498 में वास्को डिगामा आए, तो उन्होंने पेपल पावर्स लाए और पोर्चुगीज को भगा दिया। तो सीरियंस का पावर कम हो गया और इधर पेपल पावर बढ़ गया। फिर सिंक्रेटिक आर्ट आया, नेटिविटी सीन्स होने लगे। अकबर की छवि बनी, उसमें वो लोग हाथ में लिए हुए हैं, जहांगीर की छवि बनी हुई, बिकॉज इस्लाम फॉरबिड्स पोर्ट्रेचर ऑफ गॉड्स, तो बादशाहों की छवियाँ बनने लगी और ब्यूटीफुल मिनिएचर पेंटिंग्स केम इट टू बी। तो हमारा तो भला हो गया, बादशाह उनके बेटे चाहे जो भी करते रहे, बट वी गॉट सच प्राइसलेस आर्ट एज अ रिजल्ट। एंड आवर आर्टिस्ट लर्नड क्रॉस हैचिंग एंड वॉश टेक्निक्स फ्रॉम द क्रिश्चियन पेंटर्स। So, you know, their techniques also improved. So the Mughal trained art, when the Mughals disbanded, the Mughal Darbar disbanded, then the artists went to Kangra and Kulu and all these places, and the Pahadi Kalam developed out of that. But they were all, including the sons of the great Manaku and his family, were all trained by the Mughal Darbars. And then, of course, Urdu emerged. Beautiful syncretic unity of languages. Urdu emerged. बाज़ारे मोहल्ला, जो शुरफा की बोली, शरीफ लोगों की मोहल्ले की बोली धीरे धीरे बाज़ार की बोली से मिली, तो वहाँ फ्यूजन हुआ, and then it became kind of an acceptable language all over the northern plains. And then the British brought their own systems, but the Indian system continued undercurrents की तरह से. तो I translated a Marathi 19th century travelogue. उसमें we see how the Brahmins were eking out a living by performing yagya dakshina in the rooms in the princely states. प्रिंसेस कुछ बचे नहीं थे, ब्रिटिश ने सबको निकम्मा कर दिया था, पर पैसा तो उनके पास था, तो वो जाकर के यज्ञ याद कराते थे। तो जब भी हमारे एंसेस्टर्स के गांव में हमारी फैमिली वर्साई से आती, वहाँ जब फैमिल पड़ता था तो फिर वो आ जाते थे ग्वालियर में यज्ञ कराने, या झांसी में, जहाँ जहाँ मराठा सरदारों ने अपनी फीसिंग बना रखी थी, वहाँ यज्ञ याद कराने आ जाते थे। देन थोड़ा और आगे 19th सेंचुरी के बाद 20th सेंचुरी में क्रिश्चियन कैथोलिक स्कूल्स खुल गए, एंग्लो इंडियन कल्चर, फूड, चीज़। देन ऑफ कोर्स इन बंगाल ब्राह्मो समाज, आर्य समाज, these reformist movements were again syncretic. The Brahmo Samaj prayers are largely based on Christian prayers. Then the Edwardian interest in theatre led to the Parsi theatre. Parsi theatre में आगा कश्मीरी was the great name. तो उन्होंने तमाम शेक्सपियरियन प्लेस को ट्रांसलेट किया, पर उनको अपना ट्विस्ट किया, टेस्ट इन ट्विस्ट की तरह से। उन्होंने यहूदी की लड़की करके ट्रांसलेट किया, लेकिन उसको उन्होंने दूसरा ट्विस्ट दिया। उन्होंने कहा कि आई एम प्रो जूस एंड शेक्सपियर वाज एंटी जूस, सो आई एम tilting Shakespeare's play to favor the Jews more than the Christians. Then Othello was given a happy ending at the behest of people. So was King Lear. कावसी खटाऊ ने कहा कि अगर तुम, गुजराती में उन्होंने कहा कि अगर तुम मुझको मार दोगे और बाप बेटी का बिछोह हो जाएगा तो पब्लिक नहीं आएगी, तो वो आखिर में उनका मिलाप हो जाता है। ऐसे रोमियो जूलियट में भी दोनों की शादी हो जाती है। And then the meeting places of music began to develop what is now the Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet. So we have the meeting of North Karnataka with South Maharashtra. We have Gadag, Bagalkot, Bhaga, Hubli, Belgaum, Pune, which produced Kumarji, Mansoor, Bhimsen, Mogubai, tamam jitne bhi musical gems hain. And your Baroda plays a central role. Sayaji Rao had this wonderful Sir T. Madhav Rao as his secretary, plus the resident. Sir T. Madhav Rao was from Tanjore, so he brought a lot of famous singers from Tanjore, and that also affected the shaping of the Hindustani classical music. So it's no wonder that Bagalkot area became such a major producer. And then to this city goes the credit of having the first ever ministry for culture. Kalavant Karkhana it was called, and it brought out a compendium of rules called Kalavant Karyakarta Niyam. So वो नियमावली बनी और उसके हेड थे मौला बख्श गिस्से खां, who came from Haryana, a good disciplinarian. He was a Pahalwan and also a musician. He started the first school for music for women, and they taught everything from fiddle and sitar to tabla, Gujarati garba, Urdu ghazal, Marathi compositions, and English songs including Home Sweet Home, God Save the Maharaja. अच्छा, उनके दो बेटे थे, उनमें से one of them was sent to England. He came and became the head band master and superintendent of schools. और दूसरे बेटे थे Murtaza. He taught music school. And the grandson was the great Inayat Khan, the singer and the Sufi. And then Bhakkhande and Paluskar took a great deal of help from this Kalavant experiment to accept British staff notations for the Sangeet Kravik Pustak Malika that they wrote. So what I'm trying to say is कि जब बाहर के कल्चर्स आए तो हमारा तो फायदा ही हुआ ना, कुल मिलाकर के आखिर में हमको बहुत सारी चीज़ें मिल गई, जबकि हम लोग मेहनत करने में अंडा हैं. So and then of course came the Gandhian movement, and Gandhi ji saw this natural predilections Indians have, the interest and the love for music and for kirtan. तो जितनी भी गांधी की प्रार्थना सभाएं होती थी सब भाषाओं की, all religions have their own kind of. So the Prarthana Sabha was an aim to gather audiences for the message of Swaraj. And there are very moving stories, real life stories about how Pandit Paluskar said to birds many of Bapu's favorite bhajans and hymns, और वो उसको गाते, रघुपति राघव राजाराम गाते हुए बापू के साथ चलते थे, so that the crowds would stay. तो आगे आगे वो चलते थे गाते हुए, पीछे उनके शिष्य साथ में तंबूरा और वो सब लेकर के, और बीच में गांधी जी चलते थे. तो रघुपति राघव राजाराम used to part the Red Seas, so until Bapu reached the podium and sang there. So I'll conclude by saying each writer in English in India, so this is our rich legacy. Now writers in English have two voices. One is a literary voice that he and she has picked, and a normal voice which they speak to each other at Litfests or in places like this. So I'll quote two poets. One is Eunice D'Souza. I quote, "My students think it funny that Daruwalas and D'Souzas should write poetry. Poetry is fairy lands forlorn. Women writers like Jane Austen." Then comes Arvind Krishna Mehrotra. He was a classmate, and we had a teacher whom we loved very much. He was R.N. Dev, a real brown sahib from the old school, but a wonderful teacher. So he writes about him. He smoked a cherry wood pipe, knew all about Kenas, and deplored our lack of a genuine fast bowler. Spoke of Lord Clive, the travels of Charles Doughty. It's a long poem, but it gives you a sense of what the legacy for my generation, who were in college in the 60s, was. And then we face the diasporan Indians, the great anxieties and displacements both within the country and the wider world. We must counter the fragmented history so full of forgetting, of drifting inside dreams to escape the dislogic of inequalities, of a ruined ecology, of ghost villages, of parents left alone, surrounded by all kinds of gadgets this can scarcely use or care for or understand or need. Old questions from our past have become relevant once again in 2023. Nachiketa facing young and asking, who am I? Who hum? Where have I come from? Kutoi aata hai. Meri maa kaun hai asli? Kame mata? Who's my father? Kome pita? So this is Kathopanishad coming to haunt us again. And it is also haunting us in Ghalib's voice, asking the existential question, Jo main na hota to kya hota? If I was not, what would happen? And like the poet Arvind Krishna Mehrotra, we all, I quote, sit at a jaded table looking out in a house where nothing happens, that so much happens, you can't close your eyes for a second. So with that, I take leave of you. I hope
Thank you so much, Mrinalji, for taking us through the forest of religions. Never a dull moment in this forest for sure. We have a couple of minutes, so if there are any questions, Mrinalji has graciously accepted to take them. So any questions? Yes, please.
The question from here is published after. Yeah. Follow.
You can ask your questions in English or in Hindi.
Hello,
आप
ma'am.
जिस भी भाषा में चाहे पूछ सकते
This is Ashish. I have two questions. The first question is about the title of the talk is the wandering in the forest of religion. So why there is a need of wandering specifically in the forest of religion? Does religion can exist even without wandering in it? And second, as you mentioned about the Mahabharatas and Ramayanas and the Vedas. So do you think it depends upon the exact or the appropriate or the accurate interpretations of the word religion? Because when Krishna says in the Mahabharata, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham. So the Krishna ka jo interpretation tha about religion can be distinct or distinguished from the the interpretations of religions of Kauravas. Like on the other hand, Krishna also said कि when Arjuna asked कि आपका ये विराट रूप मुझे देखने को मिला, तो Krishna said ये तो केवल आपकी आंखों की संतुष्टि के लिए था. Otherwise nobody can see me. मैं एक पानी में भी हूँ, शैतान में भी हूँ, मनुष्य में भी हूँ. So how do you see the exact interpretations of the word religion from the Vedic lenses? Thank you.
Thank you. They're good questions, both your questions. पहला सवाल अगर मैं सही समझी तो ये था कि वॉन्डरिंग शब्द या भटकने का मैंने क्यों प्रयोग किया है. भटकने वाला इसलिए कि कभी कभी बिना किसी एजेंडे के जेब में हाथ डाल के यूं ही भटकना, निरुद्देश्य भटकना बहुत कुछ नया देता है. क्योंकि जब आप तीर्थयात्री बन के जाते हैं तो आपके मन में कोई उद्देश्य नहीं होता है. आप कुछ शॉपिंग के लिए नहीं जा रहे हैं, आप लड़की की शादी के लिए वर ढूंढने के लिए नहीं जा रहे हैं, आप कोई ट्रेडिंग के लिए नहीं जा रहे हैं. आप सिर्फ जा रहे हैं एक जो आपकी अंतरात्मा कह रही है कि एक सुंदर तीर्थ स्थल है, पवित्र स्थल है, वहाँ जाने के लिए. तो जैसे खुले मन से आप जाते हैं तो अगर आप बिना किसी एजेंडा के जाएंगे यू विल वॉन्डर. तो तीर्थ यात्रा का मतलब ही ये होता था पहले से वॉन्डरिंग. बिकॉज व्हेन यू वॉन्डर विदाउट एनी अभिमान और एनी काइंड ऑफ preset political or economic or family agenda, then you imbibe and learn, then you are like a porous shield and you accept and imbibe so much more and you learn so much more about what other people feel, say, how they live. So इसलिए भटकने के अर्थ में अरण्य जो है, अरण्य is impenetrable. Religions are also, they are multi-layered. जैसे मैंने कोशिश की बताने की, आर रिलीजन्स आर लाइक पैलेम्सट, एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक इतना चढ़े हुए हैं, एक दूसरे में इतना भिदे हुए हैं. वी कैन नॉट से कि आई एम अ प्रैक्टिसिंग हिंदू बट आई डोंट नो इफ आई हैव अंडरस्टूड ऑल ऑफ इट. आई कैन नॉट इन वन लाइफ टाइम, इट इज टू शॉर्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड इवन वन रिलीजन. बट ऑल आई नो इज दैट इट आस्क्स मी टू बी कंपैशनेट. इट आस्क्स मी टू कोएग्जिस्ट so far as possible without violence with people who may not share my views. You may not share my views, but I will respect your views, I will respect your opinions. तो इसलिए मैंने वॉन्डरिंग शब्द का जानबूझ करके इस्तेमाल किया. भटकना, भटकना चाहिए. सोद्देश्य हम बहुत जा चुके हैं. ये देश सोद्देश्य जाते जाते उद्देश्य ही खो चुका है. इसलिए कोई उद्देश्य या कोई एजेंडा त्याग करके अब हमको ज़रूरत है. जब गांधी जी 1819 में आए थे तो कोई एजेंडा लेकर के वैसे नहीं आए थे, लेकिन वो इवॉल्व हुआ. द एजेंडा इवॉल्व्स आउट ऑफ योर इंट्रोडक्शन टू दिस मल्टीप्लिसिटी. तो एक तो इसका ये मेरी समझ में जवाब है. दूसरा आपने कहा धर्म की व्याख्या. देखिए धर्म जो है शब्द है मूलतः धारणा धार्यते धर्म, मतलब जो चीज़ धारण करे, थिंग दैट गिव्स यू स्टेबिलिटी is dharma. That is the basic meaning of dharma. It does not mean rituals or practices of any particular kind. जैसे हमारे यहाँ लोग कहते हैं ना कि नहीं ये धर्म की बात नहीं है. You know, there is a certain subtle kind of क्या कहा जाए, balance in our minds about what is doable, which should not be done, and that is the basis of dharma. On that, people build their own beliefs and they erect the temples and mutts and the churches or whatever. So धारणा धर्मित्यागु. रही बात कृष्ण की, कृष्ण अगर आप गौर से देखें, we have infantilized कृष्ण. जो हमने महाभारत के कृष्ण की इतनी कम पूजा होती देखी है. हम पूजा करते हैं मथुरा गोकुल के कृष्ण की, वृंदावन के रास रचैया कृष्ण की, उन्हीं पर लिखा गया है, उन्हीं पर पढ़ा गया है. लेकिन जो क्राफ्ट्समैन और स्टेट्समैन कृष्ण है, उसको भारतीय मन ने इतनी इम्पोर्टेंस क्यों नहीं दी? बिकॉज दैट कृष्णा इज टाइड अप विद द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ बीइंग द हेड ऑफ अ रिपब्लिक. Once you become the spoken head of a republic, then you have to have an earthly स्वरूप. So कृष्ण कहते हैं कि ये मेरा असली स्वरूप नहीं है, तो हम लड्डू गोपाल की पूजा करते हैं, हम राधा कृष्ण के विग्रह बना के पूजा करते हैं. लेकिन कृष्ण की अकेले की उस स्वरूप की पूजा बहुत कम होती है. जो एक्सेप्टेड वैष्णविज्म में जो आज जो स्वरूप है कृष्ण का, वो लिमिटेड स्वरूप है. एंड कृष्ण इज हिंटिंग एट दैट. Please probe me and my life deeper. What he was in Gokul is not the whole, all of it. What he was in Vrindavan is not all of it. What he was in Mathura is not all of it. What he was in Dwarka or Bed Dwarka was not all of it. And he goes beyond that. So I think ये जो हमारे heroes हैं, they work on multiple layers. And like Ram's brother, भभूति के नाटक में एक जगह आता है कि वो अपनी पुरानी पेंटिंग्स बनवाई हैं उन्होंने अपनी पूरे जीवन की. And Lakshman and he are inspecting those. Sita has been vanished. And then Ram says something कि there were days when we were so happy, so we were so free roaming the forest when we wanted to come. Our mother was there to put our heads in her lap and talk to her. Te hi no divsa gata. Those days are gone. Let's go back to Rajkaj. So that is a political part of dharma. But the real dharma is much beyond that. And it's not Hindu dharma or it is not any dharma. It is that which holds and protects communities. To my mind, at least in my limited knowledge, I think that is dharma. That is what Krishna meant in that statement.
In the interest of time, we will not be able to take more questions. Mrinalji is of course there in the evening with us, and I'm sure there will be more opportunity to connect with her subsequently. Thank you.